Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this video we're going to do a very simple project, and this is a baby cocoon, or what you would call like a baby sack or sleeping bag. And this is going to be something that you can do really fast. So if you do have a friend or you yourself is expecting and you would like to make the baby something to be able to use in the upcoming winter, you're absolutely in the right place, and you should definitely try to make one of these. These, by the way, make great gifts for new moms and for their child. Again, you can make this in different colors. You can make it either for a boy like I did here, or you can make it for a girl in the colors that the girl would and you can make it in unisex colors. But for now, I'm going to be showing you how to do it like this, and so you can follow along by making it in any color that you would like. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so for this project we're going to be using these materials here, and as you can see, I'm going to be using these two color yarns that I have here. The majority of the project is going to be in the blue color, but I'm going to do the base of this baby cocoon in this color, and then the body of it in this with just a little bit of a stripe back in this color at the finishing end of it. Okay, so for this yarn I'm going to be using Craft Smart Value TM. It's a medium weight number 4. Recommended hook size is 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or USI 9, and this is 100% acrylic, and this is blue. Okay, so that's the color, and that's the measurements you need all here. You're not going to need any more than just one skein for the blue, and this is the exact same yarn as this, except this one is in a cream color. Okay, so these are the two that we're using. I'm going to be using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, so just 0.5 less than what is recommended, and that's a preference. Of course, you need a scissors as well as a tape measure to determine how long you want your baby cocoon to be. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so we're going to get started with the project, and I'm going to be using this cream color to start with the base of the baby cocoon. So I'm going to start by doing a magic circle, and I just do my magic circle like this. And the reason I leave this a little bit long is just so I don't run out of yarn while I'm doing this part of the project. Okay, and I'm going to put my hook through the space like this, or the hole, the circle, and I'm going to yarn over and bring over one. Okay, and so now that I have that, I'm going to hold my circle open like this with my middle finger and my thumb, and then I'm going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and this chain 3 counts as a double crochet because I'm going to be working double crochets with this project. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to do an extra 9 double crochets into the magic circle to make it 10 with my chain 3 that we just started with. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so now that I have my 10 double crochets into the space, before I shut that space, I'm just going to count to make sure I have my 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that I'm sure I have 10, I just pull the string here to close the circle like that. Okay, and now that I have done so, I'm going to count the 3, the double crochet that I did, the 3 chain 3 that I did. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and on top of that I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the top of that stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to the side to make it a full circle like that. Okay, so to go ahead and get started with the second row, we're going to do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and this is going to count as a double crochet. and you're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets in that same stitch. So this is 1 and 2, okay, and then you're going to move on to the next stitch and you're going to do 2 more double crochets, okay, and then you're going to move on to the next stitch and do 2 double crochets. So as you can see here, we're doing 2 double crochets per stitch, so we're pretty much doubling up our stitches. We will go from having 10 in the first round to having 20 in the second round, okay. So just continue to double up on every stitch until you have 1 stitch left. Then come back and I'll show you how to finish this row and get started with the second row, or the third row in this case, okay. See you guys in a bit. Okay, so I have gone ahead and completed 19 stitches here. So as you can see, I have 1 more stitch to go, and so I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet in that final stitch, which is going to be the same stitch as the chain 3 at the beginning of the row. And so these 2 here will count as the final stash of 2 double crochets in the same stitch, okay. So, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and on top of this stitch I'm going to do a slip stitch to join these 2 sides like that, okay. So as you can see, that is your 2 rows completed here. And then we're going to start with row 3. So 1, 2, 3, so chain 3, and then go into the next stitch here and do 1, 2 double crochets in that same stitch, okay. So 1 and 2, and then do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then go to the next stitch and do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, okay, and then move on to the next stitch and do 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch do 2 double crochets. And so what you're doing here is you're increasing every other stitch, and so by the end of this row you would have increased the previous row by 10 stitches, okay. So go ahead and continue to repeat this pattern here, where you do 2 double crochets in 1 stitch and then doing 1 double crochet in the following stitch, and then alternating that until you come to the end. When you have reached the end, come back and I will show you how to finish this row off and to start the next row. Okay, so I have come to the end of the third row, and as you can see here, I just finished by doing 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then our chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet in that stitch. So now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and in the third stitch I'm going to slip stitch to finish off this row like this, okay. So this is the end of row 3, okay. And then I'm going to start row 4, so I'm going to do a chain of 3, so 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go into the next stitch here and do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, just like that. And then I'm going to do a single double crochet in the next stitch, and in the next stitch I do another double crochet. So I have 2 double crochets. After the 2 double crochets in the same stitch, I have a single crochet, let me repeat this, I have 1 double crochet in each of the stitches for the 2 stitches following that, and then in the stitch after that I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets individually, so in each stitch here, and then in the next stitch I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, okay. So for this fourth row we're going to do double crochets in 2 individual stitches before we do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then we do 2 individual double crochets in each stitch, and then we repeat that pattern again until we come to the beginning of the row here, So when you do that, or the end of the row, I must say, when you come to this end here, come back to the video and I will show you how to start the next row. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I've reached the almost the end of the 4th row here, and as you can see, I did my 2 double crochets in that stitch there. And so I have 1 more stitch to go where I will do a single double crochet, so 1 double crochet in that stitch, and then adding it to the chain 3 that we had, that makes it the 2 double crochets here. Okay, so I'm going to again slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain from that chain 3, just like that. Okay, so this is the end of row 4 here. Okay, so I'm going to start row 5, and again I do chain 3, so 1 2 3, and then in the next stitch here I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, just like that, and then I'm going to move on, and in the next 3 stitches I'm going to do a double crochet stitch in each of those stitches. So that's 1, this is 2, and then 3. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch for this next stitch here. So just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches coming up here. So that's 1 2 and 3. So again, as you can see, we're repeating this here where we're increasing in every row. Okay, so continue this pattern where you have 3 double crochets in 3 different stitches, and then in one stitch after that you do 2 double crochets together, and then 3 double crochets in each 3 stitches, and then continue that all the way. When you come to this end here, you will end up doing your 2 double crochets in this stitch, which means then you will have this stitch to do a single crochet, to do 1 double crochet, and then you will have the final stitch here to do 1 more double crochet, and then your chain 3 will make it 3. So the 3 that we're making is going to be that, and that's going to be the end of row 5. Okay, so I've reached the end of row 5 here. So as you can see, I did my double crochets 2 in that stitch here, and so I'm going to do a double crochet here and a double crochet there to finish off this row. And that means that the chain 3 at the beginning of this row counts as our 3rd double crochet for this section here. So then I'm just going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3 and finish it off like that. Okay, so that's the end of my row 5. Okay, so we're going to start row 6. I'm going to do a chain of 3, 1 2 3, and in the next stitch right here I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, just like so. And then in the next 4 stitches I'm going to do a double crochet in each of those 4 stitches. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3 and 4. Okay, and then in the next stitch I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, so 1 and 2, and then in the next 4 stitches I'm going to do a double crochet per stitch. So that's 1 2 3 and 4, and in the 5th I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. Okay, so for this 6th row, that is what you're going to repeat again until you come back to this beginning here. When you have come back here, when you have completed your last 2 double crochets in the same stitch, come back and I'll show you how to finish this row off and to start row 7. So I've reached the end of my row 6 here, or not the end yet, just I have a few more stitches to do to finish this row before we can start the next row. So as you can see here, I have 1 2 3 stitches to complete here, and this one here, the final one I did is, or the last one I did is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so I'm going to finish this row off by finishing my final 3 double crochets, and they each go in each stitch that is remaining, and then it's going to be the fourth double crochet that is stand alone is going to be the one that we did a chain 3, So again, I'm going to slip stitch on top of that third chain, just like that. So now I have my 6 rows completed here, and that's how it should look. And by the way, this part here is we create how wide the baby cocoon is going to be by doing these many in this alternation before we just continue to build it up into a tube. Okay, so if you want yours to be a lot smaller, then you could either finish at 6 rows for this section, or you can do it at maybe 5 or even 7, but I'm going to do 8. Okay, so we have the row 7 to go, so I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next stitch here I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. Okay, so 1 and 2, and then for the next 5 stitches I'm going to do a double crochet per stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so after I do the 5 double crochet in each of the 5 stitches, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch for this section here, for this stitch, and then I'm going to do 5 double crochet standalones again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then in the 6th I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. So 1 and 2. Okay, so again you're going to continue to do this until you have 4 stitches left. When you have 4 stitches left, come back and I will show you how to complete this row and start our final row in this color before we change it to the blue. And also we're going to change how we work the rest of the project here. Okay, so I'll meet you when you have 4 stitches to go. Okay, so I have completed this row with an exception of the 4 stitches to go here. And so as you can see, I did my double crochets or 2 double crochets in that stitch. And for the next 4 stitches, I'm just going to do a double crochet per stitch, and then it's going to make it 5 with the chain 3 that we started this row with. Okay, so this is 4 double crochets here, and then with this chain 3 it makes it 5. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3 and slip stitch on top of this chain 3 here, and this is the end of our row 7. And I'm going to do one more row for the increases, and then we're gonna stop increasing. Okay, and we're gonna change the color as well. So to start row 8, I'm going to 1, 2, 3, so do chain 3. In the next stitch right here, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So that's 1 and 2. And then in the next 6 stitches, I'm going to do a double crochet per stitch for the next 6 stitches. Okay, so that's 1, and that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and so in the 7th one, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So again, you will continue to alternate this. So in the next 6 stitches, you do a double crochet per stitch. In the 7th, you do 2 double crochets per stitch, and then you continue that again until you have come to the end here. You will have 5 double crochets that are individually put in each stitch, and that will make it 6 with this. So I'll meet you guys when you have completed this row here. Okay, so I have gone ahead and completed the 8th row here, and as you can see, I did my last 2 double crochets in the same stitch right here, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that are individual, and then this is going to be my 6th. So I'm going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3 that we did previously. Okay, so this is now the end of increasing. So we have been increasing since the 2nd row, pretty much since after the 1st row we started to increase, and this is what we have now. Okay, so it looks more flatter because we're increasing in every row, but now we're going to work on it upwards like this. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do here, we're going to change the color to the blue. So I'm going to cut this off here. Okay, and I'm going to bring in my blue color, and we're going to work with that for the next 20 rows before we do 2 rows of the white and then 2 final rows of the blue, as you can see in the picture here. Okay, so I'm going to just undo that slip stitch that I did, the final slip stitch that I did here, and I'm going to change my color, and this is how I change my color. So I bring in that, and instead of going through to complete the slip stitch, I'm going to bring my blue color in like that. So my blue color is going to be the one that comes through as the final stitch here. Okay, and you can just pull the white color to snatch that in, and then you're going to do your 5 to chain 3. So 1 2 3, and then let me just pull this here. That way it's nice and neat like that. Now that I have my chain 3, in the next stitch here, I'm going to do a double crochet. So we're stopping the increases now. So which means in each and every stitch, we're going to be doing a double crochet. So there's no more increasing, okay? So I'm going to do my double crochet stitches all around until I come back to this beginning here, and then I will slip stitch on top of the chain 3, and then chain 3 and start the next row, and that's going to be repeated for the next pretty much the rest of the project, which is going to be 24 rows remaining. So we have 24 plus the 6 rows, 8 rows that we just completed here. We're going to end up with 36 rows altogether. Okay, so continue to work your double crochets in each stitch until you come back to the beginning of this row. And when you have completed your last double crochet stitch right here, come back to the video. I will show you how to join the 2 sides and how to start the next row, and then I will have you guys work to build up the rest of your work. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed this first row of the blue here, which is just a row of double crochet stitches around, so there's no increasing for the remaining of the project. And as you can see, I did my final double crochet there. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch in the 3rd stitch from the chain 3 that we completed, just like that. Okay, so that finishes off this row, and then we're going to do a chain 3 to start the next row, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. So again, as I said previously, this is the rest of the work we're not increasing anymore. So you're just doing double crochets across all the way to the end. And then when you reach the end, you slip stitch on top of the chain 3 from the previous row, from that row actually, to join the 2 sides. And then just continue to do this until you build your work, okay? So like I said, I am going to do 20 rows in the blue here. And then I'm going to change the color just like we changed the color here. I'm going to change the color and do 2 rows of the white again, or this cream color, and then switch back and do 2 more rows of the blue. So as you see in the picture here, I have the cream color stripe before I finish it up with 2 more rows of the blue color. Okay, so continue to build your work until you get to the end. I ended up doing, like I said, actually I think I ended up doing 30 rows altogether, because I had 8 rows at the beginning, and then I have 20 rows in the blue, which is this color here, and then which is 28, and then I'm going to do, it's going to be about 32 rows altogether. So do the length that you're looking for, depending on the child that you're making these for. Find out what their height or the length of the baby is, and then do it to correspond that. I'm going to do mine to about 15 inches from here to the end. Okay, so go ahead and finish the project, and then come back when it's done so we can look at it together. Okay, my lovelies, so I have obviously completed the project here, as you can see. So this is pretty much the beautiful baby cocoon here. I made it in these colors for a boy, but you can make it in any colors that you wish to make it in. So you can make it in unisex colors, you can make it in these colors here, you can make it in colors that you prefer or the mother of the child would like you to make it in. Okay, so this is pretty much it here. So as you can see, I've disconnected my color here. So what I will do is I will just slip stitch this and close it off so I can weave this in. So it's very simple. I just have to weave these in. I have to weave in where I change the colors here, and at the beginning of the project I have a tail right in here that I need to weave in as well. Okay, but when all of those things are weaved in and it's all done, then you have your project completed. There's nothing more to do with it. It's ready to be gifted to a newborn for usage, and you can make either mittens or hat to match this. I'm just showing you guys how to make the cocoon for now. Okay, so if you're looking to make any matching items with it, then you could always check on the channel. I always make different things. I've made booties for a baby in these colors. I've also made things like a little tube for babies and things like that as well. Okay, so check out the channel to see. Also, if you're looking to do the baby cocoon in different style, also check out this video here, because I also did one of a different in a different design as well. So you can always check that out to see if you want to try that one instead. Okay, all right, so thank you so much again for watching the video to the end. If you're interested in other projects, I have so many things. I have over 100 videos on my channel. Please go ahead and check it out, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you have any questions. Okay, for now I will go ahead and weave in my ends, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.